Hello, welcome back, welcome to the channel. As the title above me explains it, we're going to do a walkthrough or a kind of review of the new Vertumnus Kaiser, the latest or the fourth full length by Malokarpatan. We'll see how I pronounce it, European or English, in the video. For now, we are listening to the split that came out, Malokarpatan Botulistum Delirium, so that tells you everything you need to know. This is a split that came out, I think, last week. I bought it at Heralds of Unlight. That video is coming up, but yeah, I bought it there in preview, I guess. The split between the two bands, and this is this piece of shit was released by New Era Productions. Two tracks by Malokarpatan and then one by Botulistum, which is playing now, the Pete Metal Maniacs. The title track, or the track they made for this one, is the Rudolph, which means the nasty rag or something like that. Doesn't translate, but just the nasty guy, I guess. Was recorded by Botulistum at the Dampkerker, we know that one, on the Rijn in the year 2023. Hail Total Pete Metal. There you go, there's the bone. It is their sound, you know, yeah, kind of that Pete sound, the Urfausti drums, because they have a link with that band again, but it's more nasty, even more nasty. It's not that ritualistic, it is more digging in the dirt, I guess. I did a trade with the guy that I got the first Botulistum demo from. He's an Italian. They are not real or official tapes, but they are dubs that looked good enough to do a small trade with him. I didn't buy them, so I didn't lose any money on them, knowing that they were, you know, 700 generation dubs, but it's great to have this on tape. This is the Wederopstanding der Veenlijken, and this will pop up in a later video with the other tapes. There you go. Did I get scammed? I don't know. Is it a scam if you trade and you know what you're getting? But yeah, total Pete Metal worship by this Dutch horde. But that is not the record we're going to talk about today. I'll talk about it when I do the three-parter from Heralds of Unlight. Okay, for today we are going to dive into this. Let's throw it out. Let's not bury this masterpiece by Malokarpatan. Part 2 already. I flipped the record because, let's face it, it is their video, Malokarpatan, and the Botulistum track is already online on Bandcamp, so you can check it there. Their tracks are here we go, a Bukasofi massive cover, the first one, which is, all the titles are going to be in Slovakian, which is impossible to read. And the second one is a live version. That one is interesting because it's recorded live in 2014 during Malokarpatan's first live appearance that consisted of this song only. So they just played that track and I guess fucked off. Live drums, it says here, by Zrozo, Z-R-Z-O, which will pop up later, the drumming stuff, when we delve into the full lengths. Now, the full lengths. I'll talk about the band first and then the full length. We're going to do a listen through bit of if the technology works. So, the band. I'm kind of a dumbass for not checking them earlier. I got into them, I knew of their existence because they're on their fourth full length. I'm into music, I'm into this kind of music, and they are always on the verge. I think this one kind of perfectly describes it. As first one is kind of a drinking song, the Delirium, that opposites the Horlap song, but you have that will be popping up again in the beer halls of the main character of the main records today. But you have that one. The second track is basically their live track. A very early track is basically speed metal in the sense of Motorhead, but the main depiction or the main influences for the bands are definitely heavy metal, black metal, and some crowd influence through the synths. For influence, you have the speed metal. Sorry, the heavy metal comes from Merciful Fate, King Diamond, bands like that, first wave stuff. Motorhead, Battery, Venom, that entire bunch that inspired so many. Then for the let's see, where was I? For the black metal is mainly, Jesus Christ, mainly first wave, like I said, King Diamond, Battery, Venom, that kind of stuff. There are influences from the Norwegian scene. There's some Dark Throne buried in there. And then the prog, you have to see it as coming from Gentle Giant, strong song structure-wise, album structure-wise, stuff like that. And then Popol Vuh, what else? Yeah, Tangerine Dream, stuff like that. Stuff that in their period really shifted the musical style in Germany. They wanted to break everything off what happens and then do their own thing. So the weird synth explosion there is integrated, and the combination should not work. The heavy metal and black metal, that works, we know that, but the crowd 70s weird stuff that comes in through synths, yeah, really makes it a weird thing. But you have that greater concept records, especially in the last two records. I didn't delve into the first and the second, but you know. The band, let's see, Adam Sichak, I think that's how you pronounce it. He is the guy from Stangerriegel, which got me basically into Malokarpatan. I am in love with the Stangerriegel band. There you go. This is their first full length. The second one is this one, and I'll put that on now. Hey, I kind of panicked showing the Stangerriegel, and I thought the album was done. I owe you the second track of that record, but I don't know if it will show up. It is a very good live speed metalish affair. Check it out. If you want the record, the split, it is popping up in distros. I know Down with the Most High has it. I think I've seen it pop up in the US, but it's rapidly selling out, so just a warning. Stangerriegel is basically, if you read, and I did, if you read the Bardo methodology from, I think it's February 2020, he is talking about the new record, because the interview deals with the Krupinské Ohne full length, the third one. Sorry. And he is talking about, he scratched a few records, or he scratched a few tries. I actually have an album worth of material old as well as new, more influenced by the 90s. We'll see. I might record it as a side project at some point. Never stopped enjoying the scene. So that became Stangerriegel. You know, black metal changed, but they are black, or Malokarpatan and Stangerriegel are black metal in the sense that I think they reference Niflheim, for example. They consider themselves black metal, and they are, but just the scene or the music style changed. If you see what black metal has become now. Yeah, that pushes them more into heavy metal territory, I think. Back to the main thing. Adam, as I said, described it as classic 80s metal songwriting catchiness plus black metal madness, the mystery that comes with it, the folk psych from the Slovakian region they come from, and deliria from local culture. For example, the Stangerriegel, the side project, the name comes from a rock formation deep in the woods of Bratislava somewhere, where they did the picture for the last album. So very interesting article about the last record. I haven't read too much about the new records. There is one review by Brain Smasher for Metallurgy, something like that, and he does a great job. He takes influences from everywhere. So I explained the heavy metal side, the Popol Vuh side, the black metal side, but you have the, I guess, kind of first wave, but not the European first wave. Brain Smasher did this geography stuff that he pulled from regions around Czechoslovakia, or Slovakia, I should say. And he called out Master's Hammer. Now, Master's Hammer is something that Adam doesn't like too much. He loves the band, he adores the band, but the comparison is always, the first one is always Master's Hammer, and I think they have too much respect for that band to just say, you know, we take influence from there. But then again, one of the players from that band is on the new one and does, you know, cymbal work and timpani, but we'll get into that when we get into the records. That is the last part. But yeah, Brain Smasher, he talked about Master's Hammer, Abigor, which is, I think, just the proximity, Tormentor and Tor, T-O-R-R, which I don't know, Cat and Root. So that entire Eastern European scene, that is a very big influence on them. Adam, lastly, still mentions the outsider black metal, which is Baratrum, Countess, Lukukum, and I guess something like Botulistum too, which they did the split with. The band is made up out of 4 people for this last one. I'll read the full list, not the entire list that will be coming up, but HV or Vladimir Moravchik. Sorry, I hope that's how you pronounce it. He is on vocals. More on that later. Sorry for the cough. He is also in Krolok together with Peter, who is the bass player, very good bass player. You see it more and more, you hear it more and more. The bass that becomes very important, a very important player in music or in black metal. He is also in Krolok. Then you have A.S. Adam Sichak on guitar. He is the one behind Stangriel and a bunch of other bands. There was Alderon on guitar, but I think he left. I don't know. And then Miroslav on drums. I don't know if it's Zrozo from the live version, because they have been using a drum machine for quite a while. I think the first 4 records, which was programmed by HV, the vocalist for the band. I never heard it, but then again, I never delved into the band too deeply, but they are very good programmed drums. If you take a stance against that, I think you're one of those people who is, a bit too deep into that part of the black metal scene. But yeah, always well programmed drum. So I don't know if the Miroslav is actually the digital drum or just an actual guy. But now the drummer is Axel Johansson. He's on drums. He plays in Chevalier Hands of Orlak, which also brings in another player who does the synth work for the full-length Vertumnus Kaiser. There, the last thing I want to say is, look, the Brain Smasher's geology or geography lesson. It's very interesting how he, clears out the record, I should say. The funny thing about this, and I hope he doesn't take offense, but when he put up the picture of Rudolph II, the main character in the Vertumnus Kaiser, it is, and I'm sorry, I'm not calling him a Habsburger, but it is uncanny how much he looks like the guy. But yeah, once again, no offense. You're not, no offense. So yeah, Brain Smasher, forgive me for that comparison, but it was, like I said, uncanny. I don't know why I stopped. Let's just blast through it. The last part I want to talk about is the previous records short, because we are going to delve into a history lesson with the full length. But they have a bunch of stuff out, actually. They have 2 splits plus an EP. There's a gigantic box set that holds all the 3 full lengths. You have the Demon's Gate and a Samhain record with 5 other bands, so a 5-record split, a Demon's Gate split from 2018, and then you have 4 full lengths by now. First one is 2015, and it's Stridžie Dni. That's the first one. That was a more raw affair in the sense that the production wasn't what it is now. If you hear the Vertumnus Kaiser, it is so layered, so well produced, it is insane. 2017 Nordkarpatenland already delves into more of or became a concept record in the sense that it is about their region, or it's becoming more and more about their region. Like I said, I haven't delved into the first, into the first record too much. The second one, Krupinské Ohne, deals about, that's full concept, that deals about the witch burnings within Bratislava, within their region. It deals with, or it links to the Stangariel rocks and stuff like that. So it kind of comes from their obsession with the medieval stuff. You can get around medieval stuff in Europe. It's just everywhere. Our cities are a bit different than the American cities, I guess, but yeah, that's because we had Middle Ages. Then the last is Vertumnus Kaiser, which we will dive in. But in the meantime, they also have the Delirium split, and in preparing this and recording this, they have another split with Necromante, which is, they call themselves Magical Black Doom, and that's a 7-inch. That's, I think, only available through the band for now. But yeah, like you said, they have a bunch of stuff out for now. The record kind of hit me in the sense that I came in through Stangariel, took a bit of the medieval prophecy history lesson from the last video I did with the Black Knight and the Blind King and stuff like that. So I'm getting interested in medieval history, what happened here, how Europe developed as a country. And I think Vertumnus Kaiser, you have to see after the Middle Ages, the entire thing, or the Verlichting, or the enlightenment of man kind of started in this region with the Burgondiers. And I think the Habsburgers and Burgondiers have a link, but we'll get into history enough, so I'm not going to delve into that. But it is that period after the Middle Ages it's still deep Middle Ages, still castles and dragons and whatever you want, but it's yeah, it will become clear when we talk about the main records. So you have the first three records, and I'll read what Adam told everybody in the Bible one. The debut was a filthy and very underground sounding recording. Nordkarpatenland focuses on catchy songwriting influenced by classic metal, and Krupinské Ohne is a complex and theatrical. It creates a sort of maze for the listener to lose themselves in. So yeah, that is, if you combine all those, it's just a stepping stone to the Vertumnus Kaiser, which we will delve into now. I'll do the history a bit first of the story, and then we'll listen to it, like I said, if the thing works. The main team, or the main character in this one, is Rudolph II, which is a ruler, is the Roman Emperor, the Holy Roman Emperor, I'm sorry, from 1576 to 1612. He is from the House of Habsburg, born in Vienna, died in Prague, and he's the son of Maximilian II. So that is what this is all about. The inspiration comes from when Adam saw a movie when he was really young. He was triggered in early childhood. He saw the classic Czechoslovakian movie called The Emperor and the Golem, which deals with the Emperor Rudolph II, a figure he was strongly fascinated by. Rudolph II was basically a kind of an aloof ruler, and not a good ruler in the sense that he did not do much for the country or the region or for his inhabitants. He was responsible for the 30-Year War, for example. At least it's not the 100-Year War, but 30 years is long enough, if you can see what's going on today. That is what he was doing, or what he was not doing. What he was doing is that he was a patron of the arts, for example. He amassed a giant art collection, and a devotee of the occult sciences that came up at the time that you should look for in astrology, alchemy, all the medieval sciences that were coming up at the time. The title Vertumnus Kaiser comes from a painting that he had commissioned by Giuseppe Arcimboldo. I don't know the year, no. Vertumnus Kaiser is basically the god of seasons, and if you know a bit art history, you'll know it. It is a portrait entirely made up out of fruit, which should tell you something about how this king sees himself or wants to present himself. I don't think another ruler out of the Middle Ages would, present himself like that. It is not majestic. It is more tongue-in-cheek than actually, king or royalty. But it is a god nonetheless. So that is the painting. It is not on here anywhere, the painting, or they opted for this. I think it's an artwork created for the cover. There's not much artwork going on, nothing on the inside. The split has a cool inside, but not this one. So they didn't opt for putting it on the records. They put the Wunderkamer on here, and the Wunderkamer is it is basically a laboratory that he created, or that was created in the Middle Ages, where occult sciences came together. And yeah, kind of a laboratory that ushered in the Enlightenment, or the Enlightened period behind the Middle Ages. In his younger years, Rudolph II was in Spain, and he was raised different there. He is much more aloof, much more loose to the Eastern European courts. He got very reserved and secretive, and at the end of his life became even a recluse, just because he was focused so much on the arts and the occult thing. So you can see how a black metal band kind of gets inspiration out of there. I'm going to read a bit because I'm skipping stuff. Like I said, he intrigued by astrology and alchemy, the occult, of course. They are going into full Renaissance mode at that time. He had bouts of depression, so he was a interesting guy to say the least. But if that is your king, I can imagine it's not easy. So the Kunstkammer, which is basically where this is about, and this entire story is interwoven within the lyrics, and I'll talk about it a bit more later, but the Kunstkammer is actually the second main character in this thing. It's a cabinet of curiosities, if you want. He moved from, I think, Vienna to Prague to a castle when he got another title. You know, it goes in the Middle Ages. And he built an extra wing. The northern wing was solely for that purpose, just a weirdo cabinet. Lions, tigers roamed the castle, attacked people. He just paid whoever was mauled by them. But yeah, so in the Prague castle, an extra wing, and that became a center of studies. A lot of people that not big names. I didn't write a list because, let's face it, this history lesson is already 8 minutes long. So a lot of people studied there and had a chance to study there. He was a patron of the arts. The Northern Mannerist style in painting kind of developed because of them, and is also called Rudolphine Mannerism. Bruegeldurer, that kind of artwork that we see popping up on many black medals. What else? Yeah, he collected stuff like, you can imagine what it is like. This is just a little room, but it's, imagine a big wing full of this stuff. He collected codexes like Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible from the 13th century, and the one that I find most interesting is the Voynich manuscript from the 13th century, 15th century. That is, as of now, it's impossible to decode. Nobody knows what it's about. It is a big medieval tome that nobody knows. He also was after the Philosopher's Stone, so you know how deep they went into the alchemy. And that is basically where Prague's reputation for their mystical reputation comes from. What he did was he, as a king in Europe, he tried to, get all the religions together under Christianity, but he had a real open stance against other religions that, for example, had a good effect on the Jewish communities in Prague, so much so that he was very tolerant towards their religion, and that is also where the part of the Golem comes from on this one. The inspiration from the movie of the Golem is strictly, or is mainly out of Judean theology. The Golem is a highly mutable metaphor with limitless symbolism, I've written down. A defender of the Jews against the blood libel throughout history. So it started there in Prague. Judah Lo ben Belalel, I guess, a 16th century rabbi in Prague, invented that as a defender against the blood libel. And blood libel is, it's all very interesting, but I don't know too much about it. It's just the accusations that were put on the Jews throughout the Middle Ages. If you think World War II is an exception, it is not. They were prosecuted during the pest. So yeah, it goes on and on. All of this before, for example, Louis XIV in France. So as you can see, not everything gets taught in history. The last thing, it's inevitable end. He had a son with Caterina Strada named Julius. He was also another prince or another king that was sent to one of the countries or cities around him, and he kind of went all out there because he became a schizophrenic. There was a lot of inbreeding in the Habsburg line just to keep the power within the family, and I guess that's where his depression stuff comes from, his recluse and, inevitable end, like I said. But Julius kind of went crazy, schizophrenic, disfigured and murdered a girl, and he just put him in a dungeon for the rest of his life. So all those stories, whatever story you read, it's all downhill from some point somewhere. So yeah, that is the Vertumnus Kaiser, or Rudolph II in a nutshell. Like I said, it is interwoven within the lyrics. The lyrics are in Slovakian or Slovak, which is a good thing, because if they were in English, the English translation is in the booklet, but you can see that it's not their native language, and it's more of a story or a written out, just a translation basically. So it's not real easy to pour them into the song structures of that beautiful record, but I'll talk about it when we get into the music. That is the last words. Yes, we made it. Glad you're still here after that extensive history lesson, although it's only 10 minutes. Class is 50 minutes. So yeah. Let me get my things in order. I'll show it one more time just so you have some visual stuff. It is actually a very nice cover. I don't know who did the painting. No. Oh, here we go. Astrid Bergdahl, visual arts and graphic design. They have, yeah, they went all out for this one, but it's very minimum at the same time. There you go. 8 tracks on here. There is a feather. I thought it was a seam split, but it's a very delicate design of a feather that is also on the booklet. This is maybe the last of the first press I managed to grab because it sold out instantly, especially in Europe. It is on Invictus Productions, and they had a brown version, maybe 100 copies, I don't know, and a black version. But I kind of got caught off guard how fast this sold out. It's actually incredible. We already blasted through the intro. I'll put it on one more time, if they let me. No, they won't. Thanks, Bandcamp. So yeah, the first one is already sold out, but they anticipated, I guess, because the second press is already in store and available. So yeah, get it there. The other partner in that is the American producer or the American distributor, and that is Ajna Offensive. So it should be in stock still there. We'll just let's say the first track I can't play anymore, but it's this. I had no prior knowledge to their sound. I knew a bit of the heavy metal. I knew a bit of the black metal. I can see that it was going to be an amalgamation of the two. But yeah, it's a mix between all of the best genres within heavy metal, within black metal. There's some speed metal in there. There's, you know, a good band that just pulls influences, like I said in the first part, a lot of influences. I've written down the first thing I heard: a heavy metal heart in a black metal armored suit, medieval Eastern European cosmic with a K, cauldron metal. That kind of pulls it all together, I guess, the cosmic from Germany. Cheers. The record for me is in 3 parts. For me, I just split it up like the Lugubrum discography way back, just to make it a bit more, yeah, manageable, I guess. Because let's face it, this is the first review I did. The first track, I wish I could play it again, but you know, Bandcamp. Very melancholic interlude, reminiscent of old Eastern European, like the Gollum movie he was talking about. Eastern European cinema, it just has that feel, and they always start, especially when it's a darker movie, they always start very happy, very sunshiny with that kind of music, but then it just falls apart really quickly. It's promising you everything will be just fine, but then it just delves into the thing that is the record. This is the second track, and I'll spare you the Slovakian things. The intro was on the side of the abyss, the starry castle opens. This one, a flaming heavy metal lead that gets us into the second track, a full heavy metal attack. The carriage moves southwest through the dark blue distances. Lyrics deal with the entire thing I just talked about, just neatly poured into the structure that is the concept record about Rudolph II. This track, as you can hear, maybe I'll put it a little bit louder, but not that it overclasses me, which it does. Very good lead guitar track, as if to welcome you to the castle. It has the rhythm section has that galloping, but it's not full medieval style. It will come up, but not yet. The synth pops up here and there, and I think it's a mellotron, but I'm not sure what a mellotron is. It's kind of one of those early synthesizer instruments, I guess, but in a very careful way. They build it up. It's not just not a synth intro, not a black metal, you know, standard record as of late. They build it up in a careful, measured way. They keep it good and simple. The storytelling vocals on this I like very much. It is very monotone, but in a good way. They just bring you the story. They don't go up, they don't go down. There are choirs and chants, but also very reined in. It's just produced to perfection, in my opinion. I'm not going to say it's my album of the year, but I kind of said it with that. Yeah, it's this track, for example, here. This is the mellotron part I was talking about. So they go into a storyteller part, which is really just one person just telling, not the main vocals. Just to come back faster pace with the team that started the entire record. Solos going over it. It is a very good track just to start the record basically. So the first part is track 1, 2, and 3, the inauguration I called it. It's not on the record, don't quote me ever again, but just the inauguration of the king. So that is the second track. The third track is then the king track, or the single as you can call it. There we go. We go straight into Vertumnus Kaiser, the title track. It is the hardest first wave black metal track that immediately tones down. Every time they get into high speed territory or into necro territory, air quotes, it is for a really short time. But once again, the way they measure stuff in this record is what makes this record great in my opinion. So track 1, 2, and 3. Synth comes back in, and this, you can feel it build up. I think in the fourth track, I think they will go full out with the synth, and the Eastern European themes from that cinema really come true. Once again, guitar MVP, it's incredible. There's a gong in this that's, the chanting in here, it all works so well together. I just will skip through the track a bit, but once again, heavy metal leads that are plucked out of the best parts of heavy metal. Yeah. Then you have a harpsichord outro, which hammers the medieval sound home to close out the first chapter. Now, as it does that, I'll let you see who is on here. So I mentioned the first few people: the Adam Sichak, Axel Johansson, Peter Petri, I think, and Vladimir Moravchik. Then you have Bjorn Johansson, which is the brother, I guess, on Wurlitzer, David Olofsson on guitar solo, Necrocock, okay, clean vocals and choirs, very important. Silent Hell on timpani, I think that is the one from Master's Hammer, not sure. Choirs and backing vocals by Svarten, The Templar, Minimoog, Formanta, Polyvox, and Corey Delta. The Sorcerer on flute, there's flute on here. And then Zdenek Sikir, I think, harpsichord and synthesizer. So yeah, it is incredible, the lineup. It is a fully fleshed out record that is worth checking out. I'll go one skip more. Here is the harpsichord outro, and every part is important to the story or important to the record in that it brings a lot of dynamic. It's not just blasting through, it's not just boring. It is boring in some parts, but if it's boring, it's good boring. I mean, just to have that dynamic between songs, between instruments, whatever. The fourth track, and we are now into the second part, 4, 5, and 6, which is the reign of the king within the Kunstkammer's soothing solace. Once again, a track that reminded me of another band, and that is Circle from Finland, and you'll hear it in a bit when that is pure plucked out of Finland, Circle-ish, not really, they didn't steal it, but it's that kind of sound, and they also land from crowd, and so it all fits perfectly together. You get blasted into the Kunstkammer, a very open track that displays the full potential of the band. Has a lot of drive in the main theme, it just keeps going and going and going, and it is basically, a perfect heavy metal track, I guess. In the half mark of the record, the synths come in, and they should not work as well as they do with heavy metal, but they do, which bring a lot of dynamics in here, but it's very crowds kind of sounds. I'm not sure where they are coming in, but they are coming in. The fifth track is a kind of an interlude. Let's see if here we go. That is the Mellotron, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. But as you can hear, so much influences that create beautiful tracks. I can't play it all because I'll get copyright strict, but here we go. Second track, once again, I listened to it for the first time and I said, it reminds me of something. I couldn't put my finger on it. I thought it was Devil's Blood, so I was looking into Devil's Blood. I stumbled upon Voodoo Dust and it had it, but it didn't have it. And it turned out it was the Urfaust cover of Voodoo Dust. It has that same synthy sound. This is basically a prelude to the second single, and once again, air quotes because they don't have singles. But this kind of has that Eastern European cinema sound I was talking about that lulls you into a fake sense of security, but that is just a prelude for all the horror that is going to come. Now, I don't know how much horror is on this record actually, but the sixth track, and then we have the closure of the second part, is the Maharal Agolem, which comes from the the Judean themes interwoven into the story of Rudolph II. This is the second hardest track, and it's the most black metal, if I can say it like that. It is a headbanger of a song. So you have Vertumnus Kaiser, which was the heavy metal tome. Now we have the Maharal Agolem. I don't know how that translates. The Maharal and the Golem. I think Maharal is something Jewish. I don't know. So yeah, second hardest track. Very heavy leads, as you can hear. Just basically pure first wave guitar, good drumming, there's thumb accents all over, and there's a somber syntone that comes in that just makes it awesome. It slows down and then it's not okay. At the 4:30 mark of this one you have a, let's see if I can make that happen maybe. Bear with me. Yes. So it slows down. You have this plodding theme that appears in the song. I had no idea where it was going at this time, but at the 4:30 mark, which will be coming up, you have this tear or a rip within the song, which is kind of weird, but it gives you the sense that something is going to happen. What is going to happen is that you have 30 seconds of pure Dark Throne style blasting to bring the element of black metal, to blast it in, and it once again it works. 6 seconds. Here we go. And then just 30 seconds of blasting. The Golem has arrived. So yeah, that neatly rounds up the second part of this story. I kind of hate dividing it into parts, but it's just easier for me. Then we go into the last part, the inevitable downfall, or the epilogue. 7th track is a mid-paced stomper, and you can already hear that it is alluding the end, or is going to an inevitable end. I written down, and that was not this one, that was on my initial drawings, that it was one of the best songs on the record. It sounds like a spell smeared over ringed and heavy metal, but the best heavy metal akin to speed metal here and there. It just goes hard. Then slows down, becomes a dirge just to ride out the song. It picks back up in speed. So once again, those dynamics within the song I called it boring a few minutes ago, but that's not the right word. It's just measured. That is that track. And then the last song is slow echoing guitars that build up this, once again, that cosmic with the timpani and I don't know all the instruments, but yeah. Then at the 2-minute mark, I think you get this, like a first wave, Mr. Hellhammer, and then it blasts into, twin guitar attack that they lifted off of Judas Priest or some bells. You get cowbells, church bells, all the bells and whistles, and then you think it's going to fade out, but it picks just one more time, it picks back up again just to ride out this masterpiece of a record. Masterpiece is usually reserved for older records, but I think this will stand the test of time, seeing as how they built towards it with their 3 first full lengths with their split material. They are a awesome band, and I've been a fool to not check it earlier, but yeah, at least we made it. To write out this review or the walkthrough, they are on Ajna Offensive and Invictus for this, more importantly. I kind of compared them to what Negative Plane did on their last record last year, but Negative Plane has a much more denser sound. Now, why am I bringing it up is because I hope they are label mates, so I hope they will tour together. That will be awesome. So yeah, that is my review, or my, let's call it a review. Let's call it a walkthrough. That's better than a review, because who am I? But yeah, that is my walkthrough of the beautiful, measured, dynamic Vertumnus Kaiser. I am completely in love with this record. I've been listening to it many times. I don't know how many. It will be my number one listen to, I guess, this year. And that makes it my record of the year, I guess. We'll see if I have the strength to keep that up. That's it. The track is going to blast us out. Get it. Get the second press. It's just the same. We are in a time that first presses and second presses are not important anymore. Just big, good records, and enjoy them. That's it for me. What's coming up? Like I said, the Herald of Unlight video, but the time is eluding me. My interest in older material that was here late there has been popping up, getting records out of shops. The vinyl Liberation Front has been strong lately. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. There is the trade I did to the tape trade. So I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of ideas. Once again, last time air quotes, but I have to find the time. It will happen, but you know, this channel. Hope you liked it. To the band, thank you very much for this awesome record. I will have a lot of fun with it still to come, and also with the previous records, the entire thing. Check it out, support them, buy the €8 Bandcamp. I didn't, but you know, I spend enough on other music. That's it for me. Have a great weekend. I'll upload it a bit earlier, I hope. I tried this Wednesday, but it failed miserably, so this is the second time I'm doing this. Imagine that. That's it. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you probably, let's call it hopefully, next week.